Hello. So I was doing a live stream about Lilium earlier today. Lilium is a SPAC, one of over a dozen SPACs that Palantir helped and Palantir funded. And Palantir gives their Palantir Foundry software, Palantir Foundry Enterprise, to use to make them less inefficient, therefore more efficient and as successful as possible. A lot of people question the SPAC partnership between Palantir and all of these SPACs, and people don't understand that Palantir does this in order to showcase front and center their technology. They're trying to say our technology is literally for everyone, whether you're government, whether you're a huge corporation, a mid-sized corporation, a SPAC that's growing, and hopefully in the future, regular people like myself and you, as they make a consumer-type Palantir suite. But that's later on. So as I was doing this earnings call earlier today, they were literally asked a question, are you offering any digital services to your clients? And they answered. Now I want you guys to see this clip. The clip is around 30 seconds. Definitely listen to it. And then I want to give you my own comments and let's break down what they said. It's super important.
Last question. What sort of digital services will Lilium provide? I'll take that one. So first of all, we see digital services being quite important for our customers and for us having significant revenue and margin potential. As you may recall, we announced a partnership with Palantir, which has been going quite well. And those guys are really kind of black belts in this area, as well as being black belts in aerospace. So we're integrating their full suite on the value chain, including around engineering, supply chain, manufacturing, aircraft operations. Important specific examples include, battery monitoring, predictive maintenance, and other services. So we continue to be very excited about the value that Palantir brings to us, both in the engineering development program and the future customer suite. So they've been a great partner, and this is a really unique add to our offerings.
There was so much information jam-packed in that 30-second clip. It's absolutely ridiculous. And this kind of certifies what we all knew or we all understood of Palantir, that Palantir helps any company that they touch. How do they help? Well, you heard. The first thing the gentleman said is that we want to increase revenue and we want to increase margins. One way we do that is by using Palantir Foundry Enterprise. What does Palantir do? Increase revenue and increases your profit margins, which is good for the company, it's good for Palantir, and is of course good for shareholders like myself and you. He went on to say that Palantir is a black belt in digital technology and a black belt in the aerospace field. Why in the aerospace field? Palantir has a lot of connections. They worked with Airbus, they work with the Air Force, they work with the Space Force, and they work with Meta Constellation, where they have their own satellites in the air. And this is all in the aerospace field. And they have a lot of connections. Lilium just hired a new CEO. That new CEO is the ex-leader of Airbus. Now, Airbus works with Palantir. I'm not saying Palantir hooked them up, but I do think, and this is just a rumor off the top of my dome, that Palantir facilitated some type of meeting and said, hey, you guys might be a good fit. So it's very good to have Palantir as a partner because they have mad connections. That's why I think he says Palantir is a black belt in the aerospace field. He went on to say that Palantir helps them with several things: supply chain, manufacturing, and aircraft operations. That goes without saying. He went on for specifics. He says that Palantir is doing preventive maintenance on the aircraft. They're doing battery maintenance and battery metering. Why is this important? Palantir does something called oncology, which is a digital twin, but it takes millions of data points and it runs through a bunch of different scenarios that you could manually put in, and then they can give you some automated type of scenarios where you figure out what is the best way, what is the best purpose, how can you make yourself more efficient and get to the next level. And this is very, very important, specifically right now with supply chains and things like this. So they're specifically saying that Palantir helps them in all of these things. Battery metering. What is battery metering? Battery metering is literally being able to extract every ounce of power you can from that battery to make you more efficient and have a longer flight, so on and so forth. But it's interesting to see what this guy has to say about Palantir. And as I said before, we always believe that Palantir does all of these things, but we don't always have companies that are so willing to specifically say, yeah, this is what we do, or it almost feels fake. This was the last question of the Q&A of the earnings call, and this was not a setup question. And they could have said something not Palantir, but they specifically started talking about Palantir. They weren't asked about Palantir, they were just asked about digital services. So that's really, really cool. They went on to say that Palantir is a great partner, and they're very, very happy to be working with them. They also mentioned two more things. Currently, Palantir is helping them with the engineering development program, but later on, it's going to be the future suite for customers. What does that mean? Besides everything that I just said right now, eventually Lilium Jets is going to be selling their jets. Their jets are going to cost around $2.6 million. They're going to be selling jets to individual people like myself, like you, so on and so forth. And they're also going to be selling them in the enterprise level to mega clients. So if somebody's going to buy, let's say, a 50 aircraft or 100 aircraft or 10 aircraft, you need to be able to monitor and sustain those aircrafts in the same way that Lilium is doing it right now to get them actually onto market. You as a customer will want to maintain your own aircrafts. How do you do that? Well, Lilium is going to have their own Lilium platform that's going to be built on Palantir Foundry platform. So Palantir allows Lilium to extend what Palantir does for them to their customers. It's very, very important. Again, he didn't have to say that, but when they were answering the question, the gentleman from Lilium was very explicit and says that right now Palantir is helping us. In the future, we will offer their services to customers. Why would you say that? It's not like you're saying this out of the goodness of your own heart. You're saying this because Palantir really does work. Palantir really does help customers. Palantir really does help companies. Everything Palantir touches, Palantir does better. Everything Palantir touches, Palantir helps. I made a video the other day about how Palantir sued the US Army and actually won billions plus of contracts from the same exact entity that they sued. How many companies you know that have the absolute grit to come up to the United States Army and be like, listen, whatever you guys are doing, we already have. Whatever you're trying to build, we have that can offer it cheaper, better, and faster as a solution than what you guys are trying to make. And not only that, after they said this, they still had to prove themselves. It's not like the judge said, yeah, you have to use Palantir. No, that's not what the judge said. The judge literally said, you have to reevaluate it because you broke the law. You didn't do an open market search. And then they ended up hiring Palantir, not once, not twice, but 3 times with 3 separate Army contracts. And I'm sure that those Army contracts are going to get bigger and better in the future. Now they have a very interesting and robust partnership between Palantir, the Army, the federal government, and a lot of other armed forces. And these partnerships are only going to get bigger and better. But it's very important to see it's not only Palantir and government, it's Palantir with corporations, and not only Palantir with mega corporations, it's Palantir with any corporation, including smaller corporations that are growing. Lilium only has around 700 employees. It's a growing company, and they are growing thanks to their own determination, their own grit, and their own hard work, but in no small feat to Palantir offering their Palantir Foundry technology to Lilium. Guys, I think I'm the only YouTuber who's covering Lilium, so if you'd like to know more about Lilium, definitely check out my channel. And for Palantir, I'm glad that I can give you this exclusive because like I said, I think I'm the only one that was covering Lilium, and I don't think that the news outlets are gonna cover what I just said. So I guess this is a Palantir exclusive, my first one for you guys, my fine audience. Give me the like, share, and subscribe. See you later.